Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Okay, I'm back testing my IACV valve. What I'm just doing here is just going for ohms resistance. Now, I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show you on the camera. I don't know if I'll be able to get this thing so you can see it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. That's in the way. That's in the way. But yeah, it's not easy to get these little pins. You got 4 pins in there. And I'm just going ohms resistance. I got it on the first setting just to see what I get. It's very difficult to get hold things steady in there, but I'm trying my best here. On the first pin and on the last pin, and we'll try that. Maybe down. Things always falling over. I just did it a second ago. Those pins. I swear to God, I just have to bear with me here. Well, here, I'll just leave it on the ohms there, and I'll just point out what I did after. You need 3 hands to do this. Hang on. I did get something from it. Yeah, so it was around 4.98 of resistance. So, okay, so that's probably within spec. I'll write this down. And basically what I did is I take the last pin, and then I move around the pins 1 and 2, 3 and 4, that type of thing. There's 4 pins in there. Go around and just look for the ohms resistance, and then just write it down. It's good to keep notes on this stuff. And then if you do get a manual later on, you can. I'll write that down off camera anyway. But it was 49.5-ish. So we could monitor that. And I believe between 49 and 60 is these things typically run. So yeah, that's your IACV valve. So I cleaned that, and what this does is it if you power it up, I don't want to play around with the pins because I don't know which pin is doing what. I don't know which one is your power pin, and it is DC, so anything DC you want to be sure when you put power to it, because if you hook it up the wrong way you can burn things out. But basically this is just like a little armature in there, and it just or an actuator, and it just moves back and forth to allow air in through this system here. Now I'm going to just basically pull off all my IACV valve hoses, which if you have a Triumph TT600, this is probably more often than not when people have really rough running and they went and got a new fuel mapping. It's these hoses here, which I have all marked. Again, you can see I cover all my connectors here. We'll pull out each one of these hoses. They're all different lengths, that's why I got them marked, so that, you know, put them. So this is hose number 1. You can see they just go into like a plastic fitting, which would be, I'm sure, super fragile. Then right into the throttle body. There's 1, there's 2, 3, and then 4. You have other of these little connectors here. For example, this goes to the air box. There should be another one over here, but for some reason somebody stole it on me. I think this bike actually it just looks like there's some stuff missing on it, like it just like little things here and there that the manufacturer may have forgot to put in, like the second one. Where did this go? You know, that, or maybe some other guy just forgot to mechanic forgot to put it back. But these little boots here, I could show you this one up close on both ends. I want to inspect both ends, because these things, when they crack, what this does is, this is where the air's coming in. Your fuel injector's down here. This is letting in more different air pressure, so that what happens is that if you have different temperatures, whatever, it will adjust the fuel air mixture for you. Think of it kind of like an automatic air bleeder. Is, I guess, the simplest way I can explain it. Maybe I'm not explaining it right, but then when your injector shoots in the the fuel, this regulates that, and then of course you have your main air coming in here. And what it does then is, if you go down, like if you're riding along and then you go down into like a low area where it's cooler or something like that, it'll adjust for you, so that you know, it makes the temperature adjust for you. Maybe I'm going to cover this up a bit. Try to cover everything as much as you can. But I'm going to pull these off, blow them out, because you never know, there could be sand and grit and stuff in there clogging them up. This winter when I pull it apart, the whole throttle bodies, everything coming off. I gotta like detail clean this thing, you know, all that stuff. So hopefully this well, the good news is that there's no cracks on. It doesn't appear to be any cracks on any of them, but when they do crack, this will give you very rough running if it runs at all. Yeah, just so you know. And I know a lot of people are always asking about the IACV valve on the Triumph TT600s. Again, this is the channel you want to follow for that. So I'm going to at least get that thing back on today, and the thing just mounts right here. So while you're in there, clean things up and clean things off, whatever. So the next time you're in there, it's not as bad. This winter, I want to detail all that. I'd like to redo this wire harness, so like just like not take it apart and put it like that, but just kind of clean it up a bit. But just so I'm not so when I have to work on it, I can find things. I like finding things. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Again, these little plastic valves, very God knows where you would get them. I'm sure it's one of those things, you break a 10-cent valve, plastic valve like this, and all of a sudden, you know, you have to buy the whole throttle body unit or something stupid like that. And that's the way manufacturers roll now. You can only buy the whole bulk part. You can't buy the individual piece like you used to be able 2 years ago. Maybe you can, I don't know. But we'll see. I don't know if you can go to automotive stores, and this is just basically automotive vacuum tubing. It's just the size. Yeah. But it wouldn't hurt if you can get a couple of spare one of these made up. I don't know how much they are to replace, but being an import bike, probably more than I want to pay. So when you do take them off, they just pull off, but pull them off really gently. You know, wiggle them, firm, but gentle. You know what I mean? Because these things break so easy. Just sometimes, just due to age, plastic, it just becomes brittle as anything. So hopefully I don't damage those taking them off. But I got to inspect them anyway. So, and it's a good idea to clean them right out. So yeah, and then after I clean that out, well, I've already kind of cleaned out this here. I've already showed some pictures of it, but because the light's a bit better, you might be able to see it, you might not. But down in there, you can see there's 4 little ports, which correspond to each one of these that the tubes go on. And again, this thing only goes on one way, so you can't really get it backwards. But take pictures anyway. It's always a good idea to take pictures, so when you do put things back, you're not guessing. And you think, well, no, I know exactly how it goes back, but it doesn't take much to get mixed up, stuff like that. So I don't know if you can catch those 4 little valves in there, holes, but basically they all come into that one chamber, and that plunger regulates everything else. So I'm going to blow those out anyway with the air, gently, and then I'm going to put it back together. Here we go.